Yeah, I think there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever to say that Luke Skywalker would have walked away and been the hermit that he is. There's no evidence to show from a character standpoint from Luke Skywalker, the man who saw just a small piece of good in his evil father. There's no way that that man would be the person that we got, the man that stood there, and when Rey handed him that lightsaber and he just threw it over his shoulder and just scoffed at the idea. There's no possible scenario that that man would be who Disney decided to make him out to be.
Absolutely Actually,
not.
there is.
No.
There are countless examples of great men in high positions. It's called the tragic fall. And Anakin,
we're talking about
the father
Luke Skywalker,
of Luke Skywalker,
not anybody else. We're talking about Luke Skywalker.
But we're talking about Skywalkers, and Skywalkers in Star Wars are Skywalkers. They all represent the same cosmic force. And if Anakin can fall to the dark side, which the entire first 6 films is about.
But Luke didn't fall to the dark side. He just became a miserable old man.
Did he not?
You know what?
Why did he go to attack Ben that night? Was it just
he never fell to the dark side.
They
didn't even own it. They didn't
attack him. Bull crap. Look at the dang quote. He said, "A shadow, like a fleeting shadow, left me, and then I was left with shame." He talks about it in that monologue, how the dark side convinced him that he needed to get rid of Ben. And as soon as he did it, he realized.
If you've actually seen, you know, the prequels or even the Clone Wars, you would see that Anakin struggled with stuff a lot as a young man. Luke didn't struggle with dark side urges.
What about the cave? What about the cave in The Empire Strikes Back?
It was a vision.
What? I'm sorry?
It was a vision. That's not struggling.
No. Yoda says you only see what you take with you. The cave is.
There was no action.
Remember your failure.
There was no actions to show that Luke Skywalker was struggling with the dark side.
You know what? It's fine if you want to paint rainbows and unicorns onto the Force, and you say once somebody has hit the good side, they're the good side forever. They're untouchable. They walk on water.
Never said that.
None of us walk on water. If anything, we have learned from mythology and high tragedy, no man walks on water. No man walks on water, but one that we know of. And guess what? Even he was tempted. Even he was tempted by the dark side. So if you understand mythology, sir, if you understand mythology, not entertainment now, not your stupid Cobra Kai high school, what do you call it, a melodrama soap opera, but if you understand high mythology, you know that heroes must be tempted and tested, and so was Luke. And
you brought up Cobra Kai. Do you realize Daniel LaRusso is literally what you're explaining, but now you're dismissing it? But they did it in a good way that made it believable. Daniel LaRusso was the perfect person, the perfect husband.
They did it in a soap opera way. They did it in a high school way. They didn't do it in a high mythological way.
Now he's at a point where we're cheering against him in points of the show because they've turned him into a jerk because of storytelling. Because of story, but you just dismissed it. You just said it was stupid and it doesn't matter.
Cobra Kai is entertainment. Star Wars is mythology.
Then why are we talking about real world shit in Star Wars if it's high mythology? Why is Kathleen Kennedy saying we have to get rid of the white? Ryan Johnson is on record saying less white dudes in Star Wars, but it's high mythology.
Here.
That's what he said. That's what he said. Why, if it's, you can't say it's high mythology, and then Kathleen Kennedy wants to say Star Wars needs to look like the real world. You don't get to have both of those arguments. No, you don't.
Because it's Star Wars itself that's undergoing the hero's journey, and it has to go through its dark night of the soul. It has to descend into hell. And so that's what the politicization of Star Wars, that Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams, that they brought to the table.
Who's the hero? Who's the hero of the sequel trilogy then? If it's about the hero's journey,
that challenged and tested all of us as fans.
Who's the hero of the sequel trilogy?
Do we have what it takes to appreciate Star Wars as a mythology, or are we going to get caught up
in the question?
In the superficial details?
Who's the hero of the sequel trilogy?
I am the director.
It's Mary Sue.
The Force is the hero of the sequel trilogy. It is the Force that is the hero.
No.
It is the Force, the source of Star Wars and the source of all mythology.
I'm
the source of Lord of the Rings, for that matter. The source of Dune.
And
all
just
these
to
things that we have passion for,
and
that we
just to
love
show you how much that's
It's
failed, I'm
because it
sharing my
comes from the same
screen.
thing
Sharing
as
my
God
screen right now.
that
So
speaks to
Kathleen
us.
Kennedy says Star Wars' new female character is extremely significant.
She is extremely significant.
Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm, calls on movie industry to do more for women and fuels speculation that Rey's character is, part of the Skywalker family. Now, you don't even mention Rey in the whole sequel trilogy. Now, you can't even talk about her as being a hero, because you know what I'm going to point out is that she literally just hijacks the Skywalker name because they can't even let her be who she really is.
But Mr. Cobra, you accuse us of not discussing the legacy characters and then express dismay that we're not talking about the new characters.
No.
So,
what I'm saying is if you're not the point was, by the end of episode 9, you should have told a proper story, allowing fans and this universe to revisit where our legacy characters are, while also giving them a proper send-off, while also introducing us to a new generation of characters that we would care about moving forward. They failed to do all of these things. All of these things were failed, because if you can't sit there and tell me that the hero of the story is who Disney set out for it to be, and that was Rey, you just proved my point right there. You couldn't even tell me Rey was the hero, because you know damn well she's not the hero, because she's trash, and Disney ruined all of the characters, not just the legacy characters.
Mr. Abrams, when you had Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford on set, and you told them what, you gave them direction as a director, did any of them ever say, well, no, I'm not filming this. This is so out of this character's wheelhouse. There's no way the audience is going to accept it, and therefore I'm not going to film it. Or because we saw what we actually saw in the film, it would seem that they agreed with your vision. Could you perhaps provide some clarification there? Did the actors refuse to do anything that you directed them to do?
Well, of course, the actors did whatever they wanted, whatever we needed them to do, and they were very happy to do it. We were paying their bills. But, I think the most important thing for all of you to know is this is the first time I've ever met Mr. DDayCobra. I've never heard these brilliant ideas before. If we had taken a meeting, like now, like it would have been like 15 years ago, but we could have fixed this stuff. It would have been great. It would have been great. I'm so sad that it took this long for these things to be.
Well, I appreciate that, JJ. So you're basically saying all of my points are valid and correct, and if you would have done what I said, everything would have been good. So thank you for proving my point. Appreciate that, JJ. That's the first smart thing you've said all night long. Thank you, JJ Abrams.
What
I'm saying is there was no ill will or bad nature here. We were doing what we thought was the right thing to do.
Then why didn't you pick up the phone and call George Lucas when you had questions, seeing as he was there?
Because I wasn't allowed to, because of pissing contests internally, and because it was deemed that the fans didn't.
Wait a minute. JJ, did you just tell me that you were not allowed to call George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, when Kathleen Kennedy sat there across from him and said, we're going to lean on him? Are you telling me, are you telling the jury, are you telling this court that you, JJ Abrams, the person that was tasked,
I'm telling you,
you couldn't call George because Disney wouldn't allow you? Is that what you're telling us?
I've got a boss, man. I've got a boss.
But Mr. Cobra, by your own evidence, George Lucas would not have taken that call because they were broken up.
That's not true. No, you don't understand
exactly
timelines.
George Lucas said
that was at the process of episode 7. They decided to move on. So yes, after they made the decision to throw away his script and throw away everything and move forward with a new vision, that's when George detached. But in the process of making 7, JJ could have simply said, "I want George's vision. I'm going to pick up the phone and call George. We want to know what George wants."
DDayCobra, you're making the argument that the only way to have a successful trilogy was to have George Lucas at the helm, and that's a completely different argument for another day. The argument here is that we were negligent in our misuse of the legacy characters, that there's some sort of evil intent going on here. I love Star Wars. Do you believe that I have a big enough ego that I want to look good for all time, that I want to walk around Hollywood and I want everybody to look at me and think, there's Spielberg too? Do you think that that's true? Answer
Yes, 100% I believe that.
Oh, is there negligence? Because it is embarrassing when you mess up a Star Wars movie and people are talking about it on the internet and putting your stupid movie on trial. This is not the way you would prefer things to be. So, no, there was no negligence. This isn't what we wanted to happen, or at least this isn't what I wanted to happen.
Okay, then why don't you answer for this? If we're to believe that, then answer for this, J.J. Abrams, right here. J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot introduces diversity quota. The filmmaker's production company to implement a new policy created in the wake of Oscar So White.
Don't you understand?
Star Wars The Force Awakens has made waves casting John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, a young black man and a white woman, now leads figures the biggest Hollywood blockbuster of 2015. Now J.J. Abrams has signaled his ongoing efforts to help improve Hollywood diversity. So this means that you actively cast people based on identity politics and not to complement the story. That is proof of it, J.J. Abrams. That is proof.
From Attack the Block.
Did you order the code red?
I picked the best actors of authentic ethnicities.